Yeah, very good morning, friends. Welcome to the new platform of Kishan's University of Sustainability. So, here I am coming with a new platform that is Kishan's University of Sustainability. So, in this platform, I am going to make you aware the practices of sustainability in the world on in the regions and in different countries and in different companies as well. So, why sustainability is required nowadays? So, when you see any social media or any newspaper or any TV channel, so this decade has marked a remarkable importance on the word sustainability. So, dear friends, so we know very well about the recently means in the year of 2015, the United Nations organization has come up with the new agenda for the world at large. So in that agenda, the United Nations has, described, has mandated, and all the governments in all the countries they come forward to do sustainable practices to transform our world, our planet into the sustainable living planet. So because of that reason, the word sustainable has coming, day by day increasing the sustainable living, the sustainable consumption, the sustainable procurement, the sustainable supply chain, and in each and every platform and each and every organ of the organization and every human life, the word is going to touch in each and every corner, in each and every cell of human being in coming days. So because of that reason, the word is very important. So we have to implement even our daily life as well, the sustainable practices. So let's get started. Why the sustainable importance? How this came into a new buzzword in the recent days? Yes, here. So this platform is going to helpful to you in different multiple ways. So definitely I'm showing you to aware the United Nations agenda of 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So the United Nations has collaboratively framed the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. In that, the United Nations has framed 17 goals with 116 targets to transform our world into the sustainable global world. So this platform will make you to understand of what are the SDGs, sustainable development goals for each and every sector of the organization and each and every sector of the different multiple ways to implement the practices, how to come up with the sustainable life and sustainable development. So this will make you to know and aware of sustainable practices across the different regions of the world and different organizations as well. So I'm very sure that you will know in the coming future our planet definitely will transform into sustainable planet. I'm very sure that. So, where every organism will live and sustain in the where the platform will give a free air and a sustained air, a sustained consumption, a sustained, different living things. This is what the sustainability will give you in the future. So definitely this platform is going to create the curiosity. to think about the sustainable consumption practices and sustainable living practices, and at large the overall sustainable development in all the regions of the globe community and global at large, my dear friends. So these are different goals which are framed by United Nations under the name of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So in these, the first SDG talks about no poverty. Then the second SDG talks about zero hunger. And the SDG 3 will talk about good health and well being of human beings as well as other organisms. SDG 4 will discuss about the quality education, and SDG 5, underpin the importance of gender equality, and SDG 6 will deals with the clean water and sanitation, and SDG 7 which offers affordable and clean energy, and SDG 8 will work on decent work and economic growth. The SDG 9 will talks about the industry, innovation and infrastructure practices, and SDG 10 which is going to work on reduce inequalities in different forms. And SDG 11 talks about sustainable cities and sustainable communities. And SDG 12 will touch upon the responsible consumption and production in all the world. The SDG 13 will talks about the climate action, how we are taking the climate resilient practices towards to don't harm the living beings and even the climate and global warming. And SDG 14 will deals with the life below water, and SDG 15 related to the life on land, and SDG 16 will tells you about the peace, justice and strong institutions for the tomorrow sustainable planet, and SDG 17 is the goal which collective all the different stakeholders, which talks about partnerships for the goals. These are 17 goals which are framed under the name of SDG 2030 by United Nations. So under this 17 goals, in each and every goal, the SDG is segregated into the specific portions of working, required work. So those specific areas will talks in targets. Those targets are 169, which are framed under each and every goal what we discussed earlier. Those are 17 goals and 169 targets under the name of SDG 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Planet. And so the SDG 1 will talks about the no poverty. So here this is going to end the poverty in all its forms everywhere in the planet where we are living. So here the extreme poverty rates, have fallen, more than of since 1919 according to statistics which are provided by different well-known organizations and indexes. So even though we need to address the poverty issues in all the continents in the planet, the majorly we should focus on the Asian continent as well as the African continent. Those two continents are very, top level in the poverty issues. So here the United Nations has framed this SDG number 1, that is no poverty, which is talks about end poverty. And in this goal number one, the SDG, I mean United Nations has framed the targets. There are five targets are there. The first target will deals with target 1.1, eradicate extreme poverty. So in this, the United Nations has framed, I mean, decided the goal, I mean, the mandate work in that by 2030, we should eradicate extreme poverty for all people everywhere in the universe. Currently measured as the people living on less than 1.90 US dollars a day. This is the criteria for to measure poverty level in the world. So, and the next target, which deals with target 2.1, target 1.2 here, reduce poverty by at least 50%. This is target 1.2, sorry, reduce poverty by at least 50%. So in this, the United Nations has mandated and framed the rule for all the organizations and all the countries to reduce at least half of the proportion of men and women and children of all ages living in poverty in all its dimensions. Different dimensions also there in poverty. So this goal framed by the United Nations. And the next target, which deals with implementation of social protection systems. So in this, the United Nations is going to implement nationally the appropriate social protection systems, so and measures as well for all and different people to achieve the sustainable, substantial coverage of the poor and vulnerable sections. So governments has to come up with the social protection systems in each and every vulnerable society section in the community of social community. So the target 1.4, which is going to talk about the equal rights to ownership and basic services, technology and economic resources. So the by 2030, it is going to ensure that all men and women, in particular the poor and vulnerable sections of the society, should get equal rights in economical aspects, economical resources, and even though the basic services which are provided in different countries, and the ownership as well and control over land and other forms of properties and inheritance, the natural resources and the new technology and other financial services, even different forms of ownerships and resources as to get equally by the people by 2030. So the target 1.5 will deals with is going to build resilience to environmental, economic and social disasters. So in this target, the United Nations has framed the rule that it is going to build the resilience of poor and those in vulnerable situations, and they should reduce their exposure and vulnerability towards the climate related extreme events, and as well other economical and social shocks which are going to faced by the people. And these are the SDG 1 targets. So thank you very much for patient listening. In the next video, I'm coming with the detailed discussion about SDG 2, and in upcoming videos, one by one, we are going to discuss in each and every goal, and then each and every practices as well all over the world. I will try to bring the more sustainable practices to you, and how to you change from today's unsustainable practices to tomorrow's well, I mean, a for a green planet, sustainable practices we should adapt. Thank you very much. We all should support each and every government and each and every person and each and every company organization towards to build a tomorrow's world that is sustainable planet. Thank you very much.